Imagine a city where you need $5 billion just to walk through the gates. No middle class. No regular homes. Just billionaires. This isn't science fiction. Right now, in the American desert, they're building the most exclusive city ever conceived. But the truth behind this will shock you. Because this city plans to use technology that can read your emotions. It promises to eliminate traffic forever. And the man funding it wants to create a new form of government that's never existed before. Let me show you exactly how this happened. His name is Marc Lore. Former Walmart executive. Worth billions. In 2021, he announced something impossible. He would build a brand new city from scratch in the American desert. Not a neighborhood. An entire city for 5 million people. He called it Telosa. The price tag? $400 billion. That's more than the GDP of entire countries. But here's the twist. Telosa isn't just for anyone. The initial residents must be wealthy enough to fund the infrastructure. We're talking about people who can drop hundreds of millions without blinking. The location? Somewhere in the desert Southwest. Nevada, Utah, or Arizona. He's keeping the exact spot secret for now. Why? Land speculation. If people knew where, prices would explode overnight. Marc claims this city will solve inequality. But critics say it's just a billionaire playground. The question everyone's asking, how can a city for the ultra-rich solve problems for regular people? Now here's where things get really interesting. Telosa is designed around something called equitism. Marc Lore invented this term himself. Here's how it works. The city owns all the land. Not the residents. Not private companies. The city itself. When property values go up, the profits go to the community, not individual owners. Think of it like this, in normal cities, if your house doubles in value, you get rich. In Telosa, if property doubles in value, everyone benefits through better schools, hospitals, and infrastructure. Sounds fair, right? But here's the catch. To live there initially, you need massive wealth. The first phase requires $25 billion in funding. That money has to come from somewhere. And it's coming from the world's richest people. They get first access. They choose their plots. They design the core city systems. So you have a situation where billionaires control a city built on equality. The irony is stunning. Marc says once the city is established, middle-class families can move in. But that's decades away. For now, it's an exclusive club. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. The technology plan for Telosa sounds like a Black Mirror episode. The entire city will run on artificial intelligence. Every building, every street, every service. They're installing sensors everywhere. These sensors track movement, energy use, water consumption, even air quality in real time. The AI learns patterns. It predicts problems before they happen. But it goes deeper. According to city plans, Telosa will use emotional recognition technology. Cameras that read facial expressions. Systems that detect stress levels in crowds. The stated goal? Improve mental health services and emergency response. Give people help before they even ask for it. Prevent crimes before they occur. Privacy advocates are alarmed. Imagine living in a city that always watches you. That knows when you're sad, angry, or anxious. That shares this data with city officials. Marc Lore says all data will be anonymized and protected. But we've heard that before from tech companies. Here's another detail most people miss. Telosa plans to be completely car-free in the city center. How do you move 5 million people without cars? Autonomous vehicles. Underground transit. And something called 15-minute neighborhoods. Everything you need, work, food, healthcare, entertainment, within a 15-minute walk. Sounds utopian. But it means the city controls where everything is located. They decide what businesses exist where. This brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. Telosa isn't really about building a better city. It's about creating a new model of governance that could replace democracy as we know it. Marc Lore has publicly stated he wants to reimagine capitalism and create a system where community wealth matters more than individual wealth. But here's what he doesn't advertise clearly: the governance structure of Telosa is unprecedented. The city will be run by something called a community endowment. This endowment owns all the land. It collects all the property value increases. It decides how money gets spent. Who controls this endowment? Initially, Marc Lore and his investors. Eventually, residents get voting rights. But not equal voting rights. Your vote weight depends on how long you've lived there and how much you've contributed. Think about what this means. It's not one person, one vote. It's closer to a corporation. Shareholders with bigger stakes get bigger voices. The wealthy founders who arrive first will control decision-making for generations. They'll set the rules. They'll approve new residents. They'll decide what businesses can operate. Critics call it techno-feudalism, a new form of aristocracy disguised as progress. Supporters say it's innovative governance that aligns incentives. But here's the terrifying part: if Telosa succeeds, other billionaires will copy the model. We could see dozens of private cities where the ultra-wealthy create their own separate societies with their own rules. So what does all this mean for us today? We're watching the birth of a two-tier civilization. On one side, regular cities struggling with crime, traffic, aging infrastructure, and political gridlock. On the other side, private cities with cutting-edge technology, perfect planning, and unlimited resources. If you're rich enough, you buy your way into paradise. If you're not, you stay in the declining public world. This isn't just about Telosa. Similar projects are launching worldwide. Prospera in Honduras, Nkwashi in Zambia, Cul-de-sac in Arizona. All following similar models. Private governance. High barriers to entry. Technology-first design. The pattern is clear. The wealthy are building escape pods from society. For young people today, this raises serious questions. Will future opportunities concentrate in these private cities? Will the best jobs, schools, and healthcare exist only behind gates? Will your zip code determine not just your opportunities but your access to functional society itself? Some economists argue private cities could pioneer solutions that public cities adopt. Better transit. Cleaner energy. More efficient services. Competition could improve everyone's quality of life. But others warn this creates permanent inequality. Once the rich separate themselves, they stop investing in public infrastructure. Public cities decay faster. The gap widens. There's also the question of accountability. If a private city's governance fails, who intervenes? What happens to residents with no say in decision-making? What stops these cities from becoming authoritarian? History shows that unchecked power, even with good intentions, often corrupts. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. Marc Lore recently revealed something that changes everything. Telosa might never get fully built. At least not the 5 million person vision he originally promised. In late 2023, funding challenges emerged. Several major investors pulled out. The exact desert location still hasn't been finalized. Construction timelines keep getting pushed back. Some insiders now suggest Telosa might end up as a much smaller prototype community. Maybe 50,000 people instead of 5 million. A proof of concept rather than a full city. But here's the twist, that might be the point. Marc Lore doesn't need to build all of Telosa. He just needs to build enough to prove the model works. Then other billionaires invest in their own versions. The seeds are already planted. The blueprint exists. Whether Telosa specifically succeeds or fails, the era of billionaire private cities has begun. We're entering a future where parallel societies exist. Where wealth doesn't just buy luxury. It buys entirely different systems of living. If this opened your eyes, you need to hear what comes next. Let's recap what we discovered. Telosa is a $400 billion city being built for billionaires first. It uses AI surveillance and emotional recognition technology. It operates under a governance model that gives founders more power than regular residents. And it's just one of many private cities launching worldwide. The wealthy are literally building separate civilizations. If you found this disturbing, hit subscribe. We're covering more stories about how the ultra-rich are reshaping society. Drop a like if you think private cities are the future or if you think they're dangerous. We need this conversation. Here's my question for you. Would you live in a place like Telosa if you could afford it? Or would you refuse on principle? Drop your answer in the comments. I read every single one. And check out our next video on the secret bunkers billionaires are building for the apocalypse. Trust me, that story is even more shocking. See you there.